Wall Street is a film made by Oliver Stone and portrays the story of a junior stockbroker called Bud Fox. Bud aspires to work with his role model Gordon Gekko, a legendary stockbroker. Bud calls Gekko's office 59 days in a row to attempt to get an interview. In the end, Bud resorts to visiting Gekko's office on his birthday, bringing Gekko his favourite illegal Cuban cigars. Impressed by this, Gekko gives Bud an interview. Bud pitches stocks for his interview. Gekko is unimpressed by this and tells Bud that he'll get back to him about it. In a last bid effort, Bud offers inside information for the company his dad works for. This eventually lands Bud a job with Gekko and allows Gekko to become a major stockholder in the business. Later on in the film, Bud would go on to find out about Gekko's plans to liquidate the company and gain access to the company's pension plan. This would make both Gekko and Bud very rich, but would also leave his father and all other staff unemployed. Discovering this news, Bud attempts to manipulate the stocks to stop this. In the end, due to their illegal acts, Bud and Gekko are both arrested. Oliver Stone tries to send the message across that greed, at the expense of others, can only lead to the downfall of the people being greedy. There is a very relevant point during the film where Gekko gives a speech about greed. It goes something like this.
I am not a destroyer of companies. I am a liberator of them.
The point is, ladies and gentlemen, that greed, for lack of a better word, is good. Greed is right. Greed works. Greed clarifies, cuts through, and captures the essence of the evolutionary spirit. Greed in all of its forms. Greed for life, for money, for love, knowledge, has marked the upward surge of mankind, and greed, you mark my words, will not only save Teldar Paper, but that other malfunctioning corporation called the USA. Thank you very much.
Gekko's speech does speak truth. Greed would work if everyone was greedy, but that is not the case. Greed is always at the expense of others, which is very accurately portrayed by Oliver Stone, as the excess in greed is flattened as Bud ends up almost ruining his father's life due to greed.
The real question is this: was all this legal? Absolutely fucking not.
The Wolf of Wall Street is a film produced and directed by Martin Scorsese and follows the real life of Jordan Belfort, a stockbroker who lives in the life of excess by selling worthless stocks at extortionate prices to rich people. Unlike Oliver Stone's portrayal, the main character Jordan never feels the punishment for his ridiculous and lavish lifestyle. The main character is fully aware of what he's doing and doesn't try to justify it. Scorsese's take on capitalism doesn't convey the negative repercussions of it, unlike Oliver Stone's Wall Street. For Scorsese to convey the negative repercussions of this greed, our main character, Jordan Belfort, would have to be punished, which he never is. He goes to prison for a small amount of time, but because of his wealth, his crimes are met with little to no punishment. The punishment of Jordan's excess and greed is always on someone else, such as the people he's stealing from or his friends. While they continue to feel the repercussions of his lavish lifestyle, Jordan lives on and continues to commit the crimes. Jordan is also not affected in the slightest. His conscience remains clear. While Scorsese doesn't allow to show Jordan being punished for his crimes, it doesn't mean he condemns it. It in fact sends a message to the viewer, showing how they are living a life of hypocrisy. Most viewers would condemn Jordan for his acts. But while Jordan ruins others' lives to better his own, so does the viewer. The viewer buys their milk and bread without thinking about how many animals or workers were harmed to get it. Just like how Jordan is aware that he's also screwing people's lives over. We are also aware that we may be harming things while committing to capitalism. It's not that we aren't aware of what we are doing, it's just that we don't care.
What I'm about to tell you is top secret. A conspiracy bigger than all of us. There's a powerful group of people out there that are secretly running the world. I'm talking about the guys no one knows about, the guys that are invisible. The top 1% of the top 1%, the guys that play God without permission. And now I think they're following me.
Mr. Robot is an American drama thriller television series created by Sam Esmail for the USA Network. The show follows our main character Elliot, a cybersecurity worker and vigilante hacker. He is recruited into a hacker group whose plan is to take down the biggest conglomerate in their world, E-Corp. The group is known as F-Society. Their plan is to erase all records of E-Corp's loans, mortgages and more, to erase all of the world's debt. Elliot suffers from paranoia of control and capitalism, as he believes The show's directive is to infect the viewer with Elliot's paranoia, and does just that. The show is so grounded and realistic that it's pretty much set in present day. This really allows Sam Esmail to bring across the message of how corrupt capitalism is in our society. The main character gives many speeches in the show about how bad capitalism and debt is, such as,
Not real.
What? You are? Is any of it real? I mean, look at this. Look at it! A world built on fantasy. Synthetic emotions in the form of pills. Psychological warfare in the form of advertising. Mind-altering chemicals in the form of food. Brainwashing seminars in the form of media. Controlled, isolated bubbles in the form of social networks. Real? You want to talk about reality? We haven't lived in anything remotely close to it since the turn of the century. We turned it off, took out the batteries, snacked on a bag of GMOs while we tossed the remnants in the ever-expanding dumpster of the human condition. We live in branded houses, trademarked by corporations built on bipolar numbers, jumping up and down on digital displays, hypnotizing us into the biggest slumber mankind has ever seen. You have to dig pretty deep, kiddo, before you can find anything real. We live in a kingdom of bullshit, a kingdom you've lived in for far too long. So don't tell me about not being real. I'm no less real than the fucking beef patty in your... As far as you're concerned, Elliot, I am very real.
In the end, Elliot and his group complete his plan, but it's not what they expected. The world isn't saved by the hack, but the opposite. It's plunged into doom, and across the US, streets begin to be led and power begins to cut out as the government cannot afford such services. The one conglomerate they tried to stop, E-Corp, is strengthened by the hack, as their own cryptocurrency eCoin becomes the global standard currency. Sam Esmail sends a greatly realistic message here about capitalism, that it may be too late to stop the conglomerates and the top 1% of the 1%, as their roots are so deeply entwined into society itself that taking them down takes society down with it.